What's going on YouTube? This is Deke back again with another Sorare video. We have a big one today. So I'm about to hit 100 subscribers. I'm at 99 at the time of recording. Hopefully this video will put us at 100. Now I want to do a giveaway to kind of thank you guys for supporting me. I just got started maybe less than a month ago, and I appreciate everyone who watches and everything like that. So here's how you can earn this card. So we're going to be giving away a Jackson Yueill for the San Jose Earthquakes in the MLS card. It is a limited, so hopefully it goes to someone who is looking to start in Sorare. But here is how you can earn this card. In this video, has to be this video, you need to comment your Sorare username. If you haven't already made a Sorare username, definitely sign up and use a referral link. It doesn't have to be mine. But use a referral link and get that username so that whenever I do my giveaway video, I'll do a randomizer with the comment names, and then I can just send you your card right away without having any issues with that. So all you got to do is you just have to comment your name on this video, your Sorare name, and you're eligible for this, okay? I appreciate all the subscribers. Please like and subscribe, especially for this video as we get into this. So the actual video, we can get rid of this, is actually an idea from one of the comments on my last video. So hopefully I'm saying your name right, Vladimir Vinokur, maybe, had the idea of doing some Challenger Europe goalies that may be of interest. So what I did is I came up with 13 that I'm interested in. I don't own all of these, but I kind of broke it down to high tier, mid tier, and then your value tier. So starting out with Odysseus out of Benfica. So he is kind of my number one. I don't own him, but I think his price as far as the higher value guys is pretty good. So Benfica, if we take a look at the table, they finished third and they are in Champions League third qualifying round. So they are one of the top teams. They had a lot of transition this year. People coming out, people coming in. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But this is a guy that over his last 40 averages 50. His price is kind of steadied, but you can see he has a lot of greens. He had some poor games, but he also has the eligibility to play for Greece, and he is their number one for Greece. So any international breaks, he will have that added utility. So that's my number one. I don't have a typical order, but he's just kind of, based on the prices, I think that's your best bang for your buck, because the next few will be a little bit more expensive. So the next one is going to be Fenerbahce's goalie, Altay Bayındır. So he just aged out of the under 23, and he is just a regular goalie now. So at 0.258 currently, his price has dipped a little bit here. But if we take a look at his games, so he has played in the Turkish national team. He will be taking over as the number one eventually. You see he played the last time out. But take a look at the scores for Fenerbahce. They had a great run of form at the end. They're always going to be a top team. If we take a look at the table from last year, they were second, so they will have some European football. 8 points behind Trabzonspor, who, kind of surprisingly, in my opinion, went out and beat them. So I think they will challenge for the title. He's their keeper. He's going to play pretty much every game, I think, from here on out, as long as he doesn't get injured. Injuries happen, but he definitely has to be on your list of challenger goalies. Next up, we have Lars Unerstal out of FC Twente in the Eredivisie. So if you see, they were fourth, so they do have Conference League third qualifying round. Very good on the year. They let up 37, which is just below. Ajax, obviously, unbelievable. 19 goals allowed all season. That's crazy. But you can see they're right below some of these big teams. And he is their guy. He averaged 55 over his last 40, which is something you'd love to see. His price is 0.235, so pretty expensive. But you see, he put up 100 here. He has a ton of green scores. And his low, this 29 here, PSV let up 3. He had some lows, but in that league, he had a lot of clean sheets last year. Could that kind of dissipate a little bit this year, maybe? It could. Take a look at this Ajax 5-0 loss. He still scored a 46. That's very impressive. That you can allow 5 goals and still put up that kind of number. So he has to be on your radar. He is 31 years old. His contract's through 2025. Next up, we have David Rofe. So he plays for Ghent. He has some really good scores, 60, 60, and 69. Nice. I do own his rare, so a little bit of bias here. If you take a look at Ghent last year, 5th overall, qualified for playoffs 2. And, you know, they gave up 30, which was second best in the entire league, just behind the out-of-nowhere Union. So if you take a look at playoffs 2, Ghent did qualify for the Europa. You know, Ghent and Genk, they drive me crazy who's who half the time. But he does play for Ghent. If we take a look at last year, he didn't play the entire year. You know, he started getting into form. The other keeper that they had, can't remember his name, has gone away. He's a little bit riskier. I have heard people talk about, you know, he's not amazing, you know, in net, but I do think he's going to be the number 1 this year. Hopefully he doesn't lose any, you know, rotational basis. Luis Fortin did start at the end of last season once or twice. I did just look earlier before video. Yeah, it was the last game, 45 minutes. So, you know, there is a little bit of maybe worry there, but that's not really... I'm confident he's my rare all-star team that I'm going to roll out every time I possibly can. Next up, let's see. I think this is definitely our last higher end priced-wise. And it's a guy that kicked off already this season. So it's Sochi's Adamov, and he is .198. And he actually already played, the league kicked off 50.9 in a 3-1 win over Torpedo. If you take a look at his current form, he was on the bench these 4, but, you know, he's hitting those greens, which is really nice to see. I really think he will be the first teamer pretty much all season. He can have some really nice matchups in the league. He aged out of the under 23s, so his price, you know, should be a little bit cheaper than it was, you would think. But it's a guy that I'm pretty confident in, and if you're going to spend the high price, I might go to some of the other ones I already talked about, but he has to be in the discussion. You know, I'm leaving a ton of goalies off this list. I'm only picking 13 out of, you know, how many there could be. But he's a guy that has to be mentioned, in my opinion, on this list. So Sochi was second last season. There is no European football for Russian clubs, so that is the one downfall. All right, let's get into mid-range. So first up, LASK in the Austrian Bundesliga. If we take a look at the table here, they qualified to the Europa Conference League playoffs, but they did not move on. So they will not have any European football. But if we take a look at his price, it is .113. This mid-range is around that. That's just kind of... Goalies are expensive. It's flat out. That's all you can say about it. But if we take a look at his last season, he had a lot of 60 pluses. That is really nice to see. Down the stretch here, he struggled a little bit. You know, I mean, blown out, 18.5, 24.8. But if we take a look around this area, he had some nice games. And as far as a goalkeeper, if you're trying to get into Challenger, he's not the worst possible goalie to have, that's for sure. But, you know, hopefully they have a better season this year. They did make that relegation round, which makes it kind of better because they'll have better matchups throughout. They don't have to play that top half. But, you know, it kind of takes them out of it's a lot easier to qualify for your Europas, your conference leagues based on that, being in that championship round. Next up, we have Volkan Babakan for Başakşehir. And his prices kind of stayed around the same. Came down a little bit. It's around the same .119. We take a look at his starts last season. So he, you know, has put up a lot of solid scores. We just take a look at the graph from like here on. He had a lot of good 60-plus games. He didn't have too low, you know, 42, 44, 40. But, you know, that's not going to kill your team if you have him in your lineup. If we take a look at their finish, they did qualify for the Europa Conference League second round qualifying, and they finished 4th last season. Could they do a little bit better? Yes, they probably can. His contract through 2024, he is 33 years old. I think he will be the first teamer, 14th goalkeeper of the last, whatever that is over. I think it's like the last 15. But we'll see how it goes. I like him, but, as a mid-range, these guys are solid goalkeepers. And I think they can put up a decent score. It's a little bit more than our value guys, but I wanted to mention him. Next guy, we have Hervé Kofi for Charleroi in the Jupiler Pro League. So Charleroi was 6th place, and they will not have any European football. You take a look, he's a Burkina Faso national. I believe he played a couple with him. Yeah. He did get injured in the one game here, so it does seem like he will have some utility that way. He played a lot, so maybe like African Cup of Nations coming around, things like that. He will have utility through that. Some of his scores, he had the ups, he had the downs. He had a couple, 5 or 6 that were really bad games that, happen. But he is a first-team goalie. He is going to score, your 80s, and he had 100 here. Who was that again? Hosting Genk, which is really nice as well. So that's another guy that at .116 you could take a shot on at that mid-tier level. He's 25 years old, contract through 2024. And our last, I believe this is our last mid-tier, is Daniel Schmidt for Sint-Truiden in Jupiler Pro League. So we have been going back to this. They were 9th. They were out of that playoffs 2 qualification. As far as his price, 0.11 is your floor price. You can see his scores here. He didn't have those monster games, but if he's putting up 60 a majority of the time, that's really what you're trying to see. In his games played, 49.2 is his average, just shy of 50. That's good for a goalie. Their team isn't unbelievable. He is a sub on Japan's team. Has he played? I don't think he started in the last calendar year. But, he might get a start here or there. We'll see on that. But that's not really why you're buying a card. Anything extra is great. But for the league, he's a guy that should start pretty much every game. And, at that price, not the worst guy to get in the world. All right, let's get to our value. So this is a guy that I own, Tino Casali, for All Touch. They struggled last year. Almost got relegated. 1 point out of the relegation battle. Tough, but they are still up. He is still usable. I bought, when was that? July 8th, so a little bit over a week ago. You can see his price has pretty much been the same. It's spiked. It's gone a little bit, but he's only 0.069. I think that's a decent value in terms of a goalkeeper that should start. I haven't seen any rumors with other people coming in. He'll have your stinkers. He'll have decent matches as well, but it's kind of matchup based. If you can have an extra goalie at the challenger level and you have one of these value guys, they're in a good matchup, nothing wrong with throwing them in the lineup. Admira, who got relegated, 75.4 there. He had a 68 here, 67, 60. So, he put up some really nice scores. He's not going to blow you out of the water, but in terms of a value squad, if you want to put it in together, you need a keeper. He's not going to do the worst for you. Next up, we have Emiliano Viviano, and this is Fatih Karagümrük in the Super League. So Fatih was 8th. Gave up 52 goals, which is a lot for, if you take a look at that, but 58 for Alanyaspor as well. He should be a starter, contract through 2023, 36 years old. So this is a cautionary, I know goalies play until they're older, but 36-year-old, this might be just like a this year kind of thing. That's why I have him in the value. 0.0597 on the price. Take a look at it last season, 88, 76. He had those green scores, a lot of green scores. The stinkers were there. He had 5 or 6 of those. But especially how he ended the season, a 75.7 and 87.5. That's what you like to see. A lot of yellows here in that stretch, but you can see he can pop off for a nice score. Again, that age scares me off a little bit, so as all these are, do your own research. It's not financial advice at all. I do not own this player, so I just wanted to include him as maybe a one-season guy, as a cheap option that you could use. Next up is Jeffrey DeLang. This guy was part of the Twente setup last season. Now he's at Go Ahead Eagles. Go Ahead Eagles finished 13th last season in the Eredivisie. 0.067, he's in that value range. A starting keeper, that's basically the cheapest you can go on a guy that's probably going to start. So a lot of nothing here, but here's kind of what I read into the situation. So they don't really they have another keeper, but it's basically DeLang as the starter. They're looking to bring in another keeper as either competition or, just as squad depth. But they kind of wanted to give him the reins. He came over from Twente. He hasn't played much, but this is a guy that he might not be on a ton of radars that I wanted to include as a possible value. A little bit riskier. That's why I have him kind of in this range. But I think he's going to start for Go Ahead Eagles. It's not the best squad in the league by any means, but should be a starter. And again, this is kind of a risky, but you can get in a little bit quicker whenever there's not a lot of scores. That 90 is pretty crazy. Whenever he played Yueill did go down, maybe. I can't remember. Did Yueill go down? Yeah, they did. But that's a guy that, I'm interested in. And the last guy that we have, Lucky 13, last one, for NEC, same league, Matisse Branderhorst. NEC finished 11th last season. He should be their number one, 28-year-old. He had some green scores. He's in the value for a reason. 0.075. Again, Challenger Europe has so many goalkeepers. A lot of leagues don't have cards for every single player. So a lot of starting goalkeepers, there's no cards for. So the options are limited, but I did give a list of 13. Hopefully you guys like this list. If you did, again, like, subscribe. I appreciate it so much. Don't forget to do the giveaway if you made it this far. Comment your Sorare team name, and I'll do that drawing probably sometime tomorrow within 24 hours of the video coming. So good luck, everybody. If one person comments, guess who gets that card? That one person gets that card. But again, thank you for bearing with me on this fun month of content. We're going to keep rolling, and we're almost here for actual Europe football. I'm not going to say like the Challenger Europe's not, but those main leagues starting. EPL for me is huge. I love watching it. I love watching all soccer, or football. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.